Thanks to first-hand accounts, this program tells the story of women who've been part of Italy's Camorra Mafia. Some chose to collaborate and are now protected in secret locations. Other women opted not to collaborate with the state and are currently serving their full sentences in jail.
My name is Cristina Pinto, and I was part of the Camorra. At the end of the day, I never betrayed anyone. The important thing for me is that I left like a black swan. I hope to do many other things, good things, not bad ones.
In bene, non in male.
Cristina's story begins here, Pianura, on the eastern outskirts of Naples. Here she is, an ordinary teenage girl like so many others. Cristina is only 16. And at this point, her life could still take a different turn.
I used to live on the Massaria Grande in Pianura. It's like a nature reserve. There's a lot of green. It's full of trees and landscape and so on.
But Pianura, like other suburbs of Naples, isn't like that anymore. Houses and buildings have been popping up over the past years. At Cristina's home, people would often talk about this because many of these buildings were built by her father.
Two of his brothers built big parts of Pianura. They were great workers. I'm very proud of them.
Back in those days, construction work in this neighborhood is not an easy business at all.
Pianura was created illegally. Up until a decade ago, many buildings weren't even connected to sewer pipes. Illegal building was widespread and very numerous. What happened was that this promoted the small but growing criminal industry.
The Lago family had been in control of Pianura for years. They are a large family and are an important criminal organization. Their tradition goes back for decades.
Various types of criminals show up in this kind of environment. They form alliances or fight each other, depending on their interests and the situation.
The Camorra, the clans, the question of who's in control of the region. These things don't concern Cristina at all at the moment.
Compared to other people, I was raised in a healthy environment. My father was well off. I had a positive childhood in the beginning. My father used to be a lively man. The bad things started to happen later on. I blame two people. I'm very honest about this. The two people who put me on the face of the earth.
That's when Cristina's life changes forever. The night her parents start to fight.
If it hadn't been for that damn night and many others to follow, I wouldn't be here today.
The situation at home gets worse and worse. Until one day her father packs his bags and leaves.
My life would have been different. My dad wanted me to continue school and join the after-school programs. things would have turned out very differently. I wouldn't be here now.
Non sarei qua.
To fill that emptiness, Cristina and her brother join a group of friends, adolescents full of anger like themselves, looking for an outlet.
È un'età molto difficile.
It's a very difficult age. You end up in violence or doing drugs. My beloved brother Armando started doing drugs while I expressed my anger by hurting other people.
Sfogandomi sulle altre persone.
Assaults, fights, and petty thefts are the first steps this group of friends take.
My brother Armando was always by my side. He was my partner in crime. Each one of us had our own story. We all had a reason to be angry. We founded this gang, and we started robbing people. Tobacco, and butcher shops, hairdressers, and post offices. That's how it began.
A few brawls and a bit of cash aren't enough for Cristina and her friends. They've become a real gang.
We learned everything from the movies. We would use a toy gun to commit the robberies and thefts. We didn't know what we were doing. We could have even died, especially if someone had had a real gun.
Soprattutto se prendevi qualcuno con una pistola vera.
Anger and violence are only the initial reason. Later on, money becomes more important.
We thought that money empowered us. I always thought that if you had more money, you had more power. That's why I saved my money. I always made sure I had more than the others. So I had the power to boss them around and make them do what I wanted.
Cristina is cold, determined, not afraid of anything. She's the only woman in the gang, but she's their leader.
Give me all your money.
At that time, armed robberies are an everyday occurrence in Naples. But a gang with a female leader can't go unnoticed for long. Cristina feels invincible. She thinks no one can ever stop her. But she's wrong. A juvenile prison cell has a name tag on it.
I was almost 17 years old. It was a whole new world for me. A world made of rules by prison guards and fellow detainees. It was an unknown world for me. They gave me a year and 9 months and a suspended sentence. I came out of jail on April 30th, 1987.
After spending a few months behind bars, Cristina finally comes back home. Her family is very happy to have her back, despite everything that had happened. Life is giving her a second chance. But she has no intention of seizing it.
I was too focused on my role, which was to remain myself. Cristina.
Come dire, di essere Cristina, quella lì che comunque
A person who always had to have money in her
deve
pocket.
avere i soldi in tasca.
Not even prison made her change her ways. At this point, Cristina wants more and more money. In order to make real money, a toy gun is not enough.
We weren't those angry, hot-headed, crazy teenagers anymore. We were more determined and wanted more money. We had rifles that we shortened and turned into sawed-off shotguns. People saw that we had a rifle, so they were more scared of us. We used the money to buy pot and weapons.
Una partita di hashish, c'era un affare di una partita di armi.
This gang, with its female leader, is the talk of the town. Cristina and her group have started a nice little business. They are making a name for themselves in the neighborhood.
I started to be well known. People called me Cristina from the Masseria. That was my nickname.
When you become famous, you make friends, but enemies too. The worst enemy in that area is called Camorra. Cristina's gang started to annoy the clan who controlled Pianura, the Lago family.
I couldn't go near a few areas where there were some bosses who didn't want to be bothered. They came to me and demanded an explanation, but I couldn't care less. I wanted what they wanted. They even suggested I should work in the world's oldest profession. I told them that's what their wives were doing.
Il mestiere più antico del mondo, io ho detto quello fatto a moglie.
You better watch out.
Ah, fuck off.
In quei paesini non è facile.
It's not easy to make a name for yourself in these small towns.
Immagine come la mia.
They don't like women like
Non mi
me.
piacciono le donne che come me.
Cristina is a true rebel. She doesn't take orders from anyone, not even if those orders come from the Camorra clan.
I was rebelling against the whole system. I didn't like it because there wasn't enough room for me as a woman, a criminal woman.
Nella criminalità.
The Lago family can't accept that someone challenges their rules, especially if it's a woman.
Go be a woman. You're disgusting.
I don't know whether it was a baseball bat they used to beat me up or what. They bashed me pretty badly. Shut up.
Cristina knows she has made a mistake. They could have killed her, but they didn't. Maybe because something else had happened in her life. Something important.
I was 2 or 3 months pregnant. I didn't even know.
The Lago family doesn't know about her pregnancy either, but they do know that she's dating one of their family members, a member of the clan.
The father of my daughter has strong ties with those people.
Molto strettamente.
That man is called Vincenzo Giordano, a member of the Lago family.
We used to meet everywhere, especially in Pianura's countryside. I like sitting in the car with him, listening to Neapolitan songs, which were the soundtrack of our love story. He was my first boyfriend and my first love. I don't regret meeting him. Together we had Elena. I have the most beautiful and nicest daughter in the world.
When her daughter is born, Cristina moves into a new apartment. That's where she raises her child, even if she does so on her own. The relationship with Vincenzo has ended in the meantime. It's time for Cristina to start over and begin a new life. She wants to leave everything behind, but that's not the way things go. A new man is about to walk into her life. He's a very dangerous man as well.
Mario went into hiding upstairs from where I lived. I didn't know who he was at first. We used to say hello and chat. We chatted quite often.
His name is Mario Perella, the boss of one of the families who controls the Traiano district.
We're talking about criminal groups who organize drug dealings. They transformed the Traiano district into a supermarket for drug dealers. It has remained like this to this very day.
These families had always divided up the territory of the Traiano district to carry out drug trafficking and extortion.
Cristina doesn't know much about that man and his business. But Mario knows everything about her.
He told me he knew who I was, and that I was good at armed robberies and negotiating.
Mario is very different to the Camorra men she knows. He thinks highly of her and treats her with respect. Antonio Bonocore, another important clan member, shows her the same kind of respect.
He was one of the most determined and fierce killers of the Perella clan.
Antonio Bonocore gave me the first bag full of weapons. He asked me to keep this bag as a favor.
These are the first steps Cristina takes in the Perella clan. Mario knows he can count on her. He decides to introduce her to the other boss of the family, his brother Nunzio.
No one would have ever imagined they were brothers. Mario was a real man of action, born and raised on the fringes of society. Nunzio, on the other hand, was a businessman and more of a politician.
He's not your stereotypical Camorra man. He was more corrupt than violent.
You could tell he had the whole economic situation under his control. I knew he was a sly guy. Your typical white-collar criminal. He had no reason to hide.
At the time, the Perella clan didn't need men in suits. They needed soldiers. The Perella clan had been at war for months now. A war against the Puccinelli family, another clan controlling the Traiano district.
The conflict between Mario Perella and Ciro and Salvatore Puccinelli is all about business.
Per motivi chiaramente di interesse. Parlando con quello che era il maggior loro fornitore.
Through one of their most important dealers, Mario Perella discovers that the Puccinelli family received a greater quantity of drugs than what he thought was delivered to the Traiano district over the past months.
Sapeva essere arrivati sul rione Traiano.
We started talking about strategies against the other clan. It's something we enjoy doing as young people, like being in a military camp.
Mario needs someone like her. He officially enrolls her in the clan. But Cristina will not just be a simple soldier.
She becomes the leader of Perella's military force. She's the one taking decisions now, and she vigorously defends that role.
Pronta a non cedere posizioni.
He used to call me at the last minute, and we would take off. The first person of that family we saw, we'd shoot. Is that him?
Yeah, go.
Mario was obsessed with me being a female killer. It was a fixation with him. I told him, Mario, don't make me shoot all the time. Spare me for once. All the time it was me shooting.
She had a very strong personality. She was a good killer. The only woman I've ever known who shot with such indifference.
She became famous in the district of Traiano too. She's no longer Cristina from the Masseria, she's Nikita now. Just like the fierce female killer from a movie of the times.
Era sicuramente un valore aggiunto.
She was certainly an added value to the Perella clan.
Di Mario Perella. Una persona
She was a brave person.
capace ovviamente di
She obviously knew how to handle weapons and wasn't afraid of danger.
e anche
She was also characterized by a high level of loyalty towards her boss.
a quello che era il suo capo. Per ben 2 volte salva la vita a Mario
She
Perella.
saved Mario Perella's life twice. She finds herself in an ambush, and at a certain point in time is able to grab her gun and scare off a killer who is firing a machine gun.
Che stava sparando con una mitraglietta.
Mario, get out of here! I see this car coming, and I notice a guy grabbing his Kalashnikov. I see him step out of the car, and I block his sight to stop him from killing Mario.
Mi sono messa in mezzo per non farlo ammazzare.
I start shooting randomly. Bullets are flying everywhere. Your mind goes blank in a moment like this. All you think of is staying alive. When you're loyal to someone and you have their back, you give your life to that person. I could have died right there.
Io ci ho messo la mia, perché potevo morire in quell'occasione.
Cristina finds herself in the middle of a war that is turning out to be one of the bloodiest wars in the history of the Camorra.
Nell'arco di 4 mesi.
In 1991, within just 4 months, At least 15 cases of murders and attempted murders were recorded.
Tentati omicidi.
It would suffice to go out at a certain hour of the night to run into the Perella clan, who were hunting someone down, and they had sometimes even been chasing them for weeks. All of a sudden, you could find yourself in the middle of a crossfire. It was a war with no prisoners taken.
Like in every war, soldiers aren't the only people dying. There are also innocent victims.
These parents, with their son Fabio, went to visit a relative nearby. And after having left their apartment in the Traiano district, they crossed a street.
We heard a gunshot, but I thought it was a firecracker. My son told us his arm was hurting. When I looked at it, I understood it was a bullet. In the emergency room, I knew we had lost him. The doctor on duty asked me if I only had one child. I didn't answer her, so she repeated her question. I still didn't answer her. But then I grew annoyed and told her that 1 or 90 children was of no difference to me. We had lost one. That was all that mattered.
On July 21st, 1991, Naples mourns the death of little Fabio, yet another innocent victim of the Camorra.
The little boy dies in the middle of the crossfire between killers of the Perella and the Puccinelli clan.
They wanted to kill Mario and whoever was with him at the time. But it wasn't me. I'm being honest. Not because I feel guilty for that boy's death. I do feel sad for that little boy. But I wasn't there.
Ma io non c'ero.
That little boy's story deeply moved many Neapolitans. Something that happened every time the Camorra killed an innocent victim.
Fabio Di Pandi's murder triggers an even greater effort to finally end the war between these clans from the western part of the city, an effort which we hadn't seen up until then.
It's no longer time for these families to wage war, but it's time for them to go into hiding. Mario and his clan decide to hide in Pianura, in an old apartment belonging to Cristina's family.
Take your hands off me. And shut up.
We hid in an apartment inside a building called the Blue Building. We were living on the 4th floor. It was me, Mario Perella, and Antonio called Capoccia, and Antonio Bonocore.
Put that gun on the table.
No one feels safe in that apartment. They're tense, paranoid, and really nervous. They know their days are numbered.
They stormed in at 5 in the morning with police cars and helicopters. So many of them.
Mario
Perella and Antonio Bonocore were arrested. This raid was aimed at the bosses and the high ranks of the clan. People were expecting answers following that innocent death. The police had no choice but to intervene after what had happened here.
The only person who hasn't been arrested is Cristina. Mario Perella was able to convince the police that she wasn't involved in the clan's business.
We made up an excuse that I was only Mario's girlfriend. Mario wanted to keep me out of jail. He wanted me to look after the money. I never stole a penny. Everything went as he planned. He wanted me out of prison. That's why we made up that excuse. He trusted me completely.
Mario Perella wants Cristina to work together with Nunzio to run the clan.
Cristina resta fuori.
Cristina and Nunzio Perella are still outside prison walls. Nunzio is occupied with a different field of business, but they become the clan's leaders. Cristina doesn't immediately become a boss. From what we know, she doesn't actually make the decisions, but she takes care of all the money matters.
We're doing this for Mario, not for you. So shut up.
This is my money, you know?
Cristina was very close to Mario Perella, but at the same time, she had a difficult relationship with his brother.
I never trusted him. I knew he was up to something.
Look who's here!
Cristina decides to follow him, and she soon finds out that her suspicions are well-grounded. Nunzio is dealing with the rival clan, the Puccinelli family.
That son of a bitch had seen us. He'd had lunch with our rivals. I had no idea what Nunzio was up to. He told me I had no business following him. I told him, I don't take orders from you. I take orders from your brother.
Two coffees, please.
Sure.
It has become impossible to tell who's friend or foe within the clan. The first to pay the price is one of Cristina's men.
I was very close to Antonio. He was like a brother to me. I lost an important part of my life.
Cristina doesn't know who to trust anymore. These streets have become dangerous for her.
She knows she's in danger. Her presence has become undesirable. She starts to be afraid of the clan, and therefore she decides to hide as a fugitive.
I wasn't hiding from the police, but from other people. Since Nunzio immediately sold me out. I still don't know if Mario sold me out too. So I had to be on my own in order to protect myself. The truth is that I was dating Raffaele at the time, and hiding in Pozzuoli was much easier for me.
Più facile.
He was 44 years old at the time, with green eyes and curly brown hair. He was a fisherman, and he always wore a hat. He didn't ask me too many questions at first. Beautiful story. We've been together for 25 years now.
While Cristina is hiding far away from everyone, the war within the Perella clan goes on even behind the prison bars. Antonio Bonocore is the one to pay the price.
Someone tried to strangle Bonocore in prison. They wanted to get rid of him, but it was really important for them to make it look like he committed suicide. Bonocore was able to save himself from this attempted murder, and afterwards decides to repent. His testimony becomes an important key for the anti-mafia prosecutor to thwart the Neapolitan mafia organizations.
The number of searches and arrests in the Traiano district is increasing. Bonocore's revelations are the death blow for what remains of the Perella clan.
That's my cousin! God will punish you for this!
Nunzio is the last boss on the loose, but it's time for him to face the law as well.
We carried out a search and found him full of drugs, so we arrested him. After his arrest, Nunzio started to collaborate.
E dopo questo arresto Nunzio poco dopo cominciò a collaborare.
Nunzio's deposition led magistrates to discover the whole spectrum of the Perella clan's affairs. A lot more than just drug dealing.
He was the first person to talk about waste trafficking. He had been dealing with this kind of business for a while because it was a more convenient and a less dangerous business compared to drug trafficking.
The famous sentence, "Garbage is gold," has been attributed to Nunzio Perella.
Cristina had also taken part in waste trafficking, an ugly affair that enriched the Camorra clans but poisoned the territory and its population.
I used to go to the farmers and offer them some money, and they would let us use their land. I had no idea that stuff could cause cancer in the future. I'm very sorry about that, but we thought it was simple waste that could be buried. But we actually buried asbestos. I didn't realize it could be so dangerous.
Nunzio Perella helped us discover this business and its connection to the Camorra and the Mafia. We had no idea about all of this. He also confirmed Bonocore's words regarding all the clan members. And he told us about the role Cristina Pinto played within the Perella clan.
Cristina's name is officially being investigated. Investigators know now that she isn't Mario Perella's girlfriend, like he had wanted to make them believe. They know she is a major player in the clan, the last on the loose. The circle around Cristina is closing in on her more and more. For her too, the time for settling old scores has come.
They stalked my mother and threatened her, and my brothers too. I couldn't go out of the house because the police were everywhere. They wanted to question my mother, thinking she knew where I was. And of course, she did.
It's just a matter of time now. The police are at her heels. They're only waiting for the perfect time to go into action.
It was 7 p.m. I left the house, and as I was getting into the car, someone opened the door.
Step out of the car.
Don't worry, honey. They're just joking. My daughter's in the car.
Don't worry, we'll look after her.
I didn't realize it was the police. I was still worried because I didn't trust the people I had worked with.
Cristina is arrested on June 6, 1992, but this time she will serve many years in prison.
She was convicted for a series of crimes: criminal association, trafficking, drug selling, possession of weapons, stolen goods, and so on.
These sentences make up only a small part of what she will have to serve. While Cristina spends her first months behind bars, the magistrates discover so much more about her.
When Mario Perella started to collaborate, he confirmed that she had actually fired gunshots herself. Substantially, she will be convicted for 2 attempted murders.
Mario Perella is the one who reveals her crimes. That same boss who Cristina had sworn lifelong loyalty to.
He incriminated me and therefore prolonged my sentence. He damaged me even more. It wasn't nice at all. I saw my friends become my enemies, and my enemies became my friends. My trial became a show. They were all right there in front of me. I don't want to be like them. I spent 22 years behind bars, and this gave me time to think. I matured more in prison than in the outside world.
On November 7th, 2014, after 22 years in prison, Cristina went back to a life of freedom. Even though she dissociated herself, she never repented and refused to collaborate with justice.
I believe someone with her clarity of mind, who experienced and deeply understood the worthlessness of her first life and of her behavior. Someone who hurt other people by holding a gun and playing a leading role in a war that took so many lives, especially one of a 10-year-old innocent little boy. Someone like that must ask herself if she made the right decision not to cooperate with justice.
I'd like to redeem myself for what I've done in my life. Today, I'm living my life as a fisherman. I always take on male jobs. I do it because I make more money that way. I hope to do many other things. Good things.
Spero di fare tante altre cose.
Not bad ones.
In bene, non in male.
After 3 trials, Cristina Pinto has accumulated convictions totaling 24 years of prison for crimes that go from criminal association to attempted murder. She was released from prison on November 7, 2014, after serving 22 years in different maximum security prisons. She's currently working on a fishing boat in Pozzuoli.